should have. We missed you. Realities May Vary, the podcast that is like teenage acne. One day it's there, one day it's not. We're glad to be back. I am Brian Noonan. With me, as always, the well-coiffed, the highly confident, and the multifaceted Cody Gough. Hello,
That
Cody Gough.
was a graphic intro. Hi, Brian. I'm here to tell you what was on the show today. What is to be on the show today? 'Twas the podcast before Christmas. Quite literally, because next week is Christmas and we're off. And the week after that's New Year's and we're off. So it's going to have to be a show the size of 3 shows.
We'll take a small show and it'll grow 3 sizes tonight.
Yes. And the some other ad lib. So what are we talking about tonight? Brian has he has a show recommendation? No,
that is nothing. That was not on any of the things I said to you.
Brian is going to call out some people. Get ready for his
calling
hot
out
take.
a few people.
I'm going to have a Christmas music hot take that I'm sure everyone will love. But we'll get to that later. In the meantime, PE microdose, PE incredulous, PE. I don't know what that means.
That was nothing that I said to you either.
No.
Why do you even ask me what I have to talk about, and then you just scribble down insane notes?
I have no idea.
Like you're on barbiturates.
Brian's also going to talk about vintage ornaments, a Christmas monkey wrench in his plans. That one I remember. He's also going to talk about his Technicolor toe, because what's a realities may vary without an ailment between one of the two of us.
You know it.
And I went to the Elmhurst Christmas lighting ceremony and have commentary to present about that.
Wow.
From a couple weeks ago. Why did I write down PE incredulous?
Well, I'm teaching PE.
Yeah, but that's not, we didn't even mention school.
We didn't mention PE at all today.
Was it listening?
Even though I'll tell you what, it's big holiday games the last 2 weeks in PE. So
I have no idea what we're talking about. It doesn't matter. Let's start with a 5-minute check-in. 30-second check. It's a 30-second check-in.
It's a 30-second, 5-minute check. We haven't done this in a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but okay. All right, here's the check-in. I'm fine. I'll explain the Technicolor toe. That's for some reason my big toes are trying to mutiny the body. But other than that, everything's fine. And I was going to apologize for not doing an episode in a couple weeks, but I can't apologize because it wasn't like we were just sloughing off. We've been working hard on the other podcast, and sometimes schedules just align where we couldn't be here. And we have not given up. We are not quitting. Some people are asking if we're quitting. No, we have no plans to stop doing this show. It's just sometimes other things come up and we have to do that. And especially this month, December is very busy for everybody. Cody's got little children and work, and we've got the other show, which is Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. And so sometimes things just have to, go away. So we're not quitting. Don't, you can stop asking because we're not going to quit.
Brian also works about 75 hours a week.
I think, Cody, that I was thinking about last week, because we were supposed to do last Sunday, we were supposed to do a podcast. We were supposed to do a Crafty Brewers, and then Monday we were supposed to do a Crafty Brewers. And that Saturday night, I had done a show, and I think my body just hit the wall, because there's a lot of people who work a lot of jobs. This is an economy where people are, the hustle is real, and I don't set myself apart from anybody else. But I think after working all day at school, then all night either doing radio or trivia stuff, and then I was doing comedy last Saturday about an hour north of Milwaukee, and on the way home, my body just shut down. I stopped to get some White Castle, which I was looking forward to very much in Kenosha. Plus, I got gas for $2.69. You can't beat it. So I put gas in the car on the way up, and I didn't mind having to put gas in the car on the way back, because I was like, it's $2.69. I just sprayed some on the parking lot just because it was so cheap. I was like, I don't care. I got my White Castle, and I was jazzed to eat it. And I ate about half of them. And I was just like, ugh, my stomach. And then I got the chills. So the last hour of the drive, I had the heat cranked in my car, my heated seat up, my jacket zipped all the way, and I was shaking the whole ride home. So I think finally, and then I slept for 13 hours and got up, told you I couldn't do the podcast, and then slept the rest of the day in the chair. And then I was fine on Monday. So I think, sometimes things just happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sounds
there's
that's a good wrap up. All right. Well, here's my quick check in. So I'm drinking.
Let's do it.
So for those of you who haven't seen the Christmas/holiday special of Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer,
And you should.
which dropped a week or two ago. I don't know. It was a great episode. I had a lot of fun doing it. But in that episode, we tasted a bunch of cellared Bourbon County stouts. We tasted a bunch of old beer.
Yeah,
And you know how much
we drank old beer.
Brian and I are obsessed with Goose Island Bourbon County Stouts. Basically the best beer ever. I've spent thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars on it over the last 10 years. So anyway, spoiler alert, most of them were really bad because they were too old.
Yes.
There's actually a limit. But anyway, so I went in my fridge and I told my wife after that night, I'm like, look, we just got to start drinking all of this because it is not going to get better. There is no such thing as a special occasion. So normally the proprietor's blend, which is exclusive to the Chicago area, normally that's like a special occasion kind of beer.
Yeah.
And tonight I was just like, we're just going to drink it. So there's a 2019 Bourbon County proprietor's blend. This one has coconut, vanilla, cacao nibs, and pecans. It starts with wafts of dark chocolate, according to the box.
Hello.
Toasted coconut and caramel, layered with intense notes of toasted pecans and bittersweet cocoa, reminiscent of tiramisu.
We talked to the woman who came up with that recipe on this very podcast.
Yeah, on Reality Is May Vary. So, it actually is holding up pretty well. It says on the flag, it says ages up to 2 or continues to develop for up to 2 years in the bottle.
Okay.
So I guess I got the full 2 years of development plus another couple years. But yeah, if you got a
2019, I have one.
Yeah, if you got 2019, drink it.
I got a lot of reason to drink coming up. Well, I'll be on winter break plus it's Christmas.
Yes.
So
yeah,
maybe that's what I'll have while I watch Bad Santa all by myself with Lawson.
Actually, speaking of watching things, the other quick update is that my wife and I were like, let's watch something tonight because we don't see each other or spend time together as a couple anymore without
Welcome
kids.
to being married. That's good. That's how it is. Don't worry about it.
It's the kids mostly. And I was like, Brian recommended something on Realities May Vary one time, and I wrote it down. So I ran upstairs and I grabbed my notes, which are
you have notes? You actually keep notes?
I jot down on shorthand 1 or 2 words related to each topic so I can preview the episode.
Yeah.
Hence where we get really brilliant notes like PE incredulous. But I looked and I found you had recommended Deadlock.
Yes.
Yes, we're 2 episodes into it and enjoying it.
How do you like it?
Pretty good.
Somebody else started watching it on my recommendation. Or one of the teachers at school started watching it on my recommendation.
Very nice. It reminds me, it's kind of like a Australian Twin Peaks 30 years later.
A little bit, yes. And the one detective, the one who's not from there, the one in the Hawaiian shirt, she's hilarious.
Yeah.
And she reminds me of somebody I work with. So that was another, but yes, I think it's a really good show. It's very unique. It'll be I think it'll keep you guessing. I'll just say that.
Yeah. It's a murder mystery kind of thing, like this first season and a half of Twin Peaks.
Right.
But in Australia, on an island off the coast of the mainland, and I have to have subtitles on because you have no idea what they're saying in most of the first episode.
That's how I was with Dairy Girls. I had to have, and I'm Irish, and I had to have the subtitles on. I was like, ooh, this one, I don't think we had the subtitles on for Deadlock, maybe because we were still coming off Dairy Girls, so we had foreign accents in our heads.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're liking it.
Yeah, thanks to the reco. Well,
hey, listen.
we're not like doing a show. It's not like we watch every night, but
sure.
We're dip back once in a while when we've got some free time.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And that's not a show for the children.
It's not. It's something to do because usually we've got the one night a week dedicated to watching pro wrestling.
Okay, sure. That's
So
your passion.
we watch AEW. So my wife kindly does that. And then I am part of her Ulysses book club.
Was that still going on?
It's going to be going on for, we do it
3
every
or 4
2 weeks.
years?
No, we do it every 2 weeks. There's another 8 chapters left. So at least another 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's a lot of book.
Because one of the chapters is I think like 300 pages long or something.
That makes sense.
No,
Wow.
it's crazy. It's like I'm like a
Are you enjoying the book at all?
no,
Okay.
no.
That's what I've heard, that no one who reads it actually enjoys it.
There are things about it I enjoy, and it's a challenge, but it's a stretch to even call it a novel, is what my wife keeps saying.
Right.
It's an interesting exercise. But I'm glad I'm doing it, and at the end, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says I read Ulysses, and that's pretty much my motivation. So,
All right.
actually, my wife is, I believe, going to be presenting at a Ulysses conference
How does that happen?
because she's insanely smart.
Well, I know she's very smart,
Yeah,
but she's
no,
never read Ulysses before, correct?
she read it before. This is
Oh,
her
she did.
This is her second time. She's got like 6
Oh.
editions in 2 different languages.
Wow.
Because she's working on some academic stuff. I don't want to like spread all her
Oh,
business
yeah.
all around
No,
the
no,
internet, but
no.
she's very smart and doing really cool things. And she literally, we went to Ireland last October, and then she was like, "Well, to get in the mood, I should read Ulysses." And then she just kind of got into it for fun, and then like ended up listening to a couple podcasts about it, and was like, "Oh, it's a little bit deeper." And then she found out about this conference, and she was like, "I have an idea for a thing I can present." And then she just submitted it, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great topic. You should write about it." And she's like, "Okay." She's
Okay.
she's just out of control. She's like the coolest person ever.
That's wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it in Ireland?
It is actually in Rome.
Oh, good Lord.
It's in Rome. Yeah.
So she'll be going there to present on the piazza.
Without me.
Just little men on Vespas. and
I
tight
offered to
pants.
bring the kids, but for whatever reason, that didn't sound appealing.
She didn't want to go to Italy with the children's? A 3-year-old and a 1-year-old?
I don't know.
They're probably wonderful travel companions.
Probably.
So you're roaming to the Colosseum and you have to wipe their butts.
Yes.
Then no more fun.
All right.
No more fun for the children's.
Well, speaking of no more fun, what is happening to your body, and
right.
what is happening to your Christmas? Are they related?
No, the Christmas and the toe is no relation at all.
All
All right, we'll start with Christmas because that's the major plot point coming up. So with one child. Oh no, Mike says you could leave the kids at my house. If they were going downtown for the conference and coming back the next day, of course the children could stay overnight. But if you're going international, that's more a grandparent job. That's because that's like a week, and that's grandparents come down, stay at the house a night or two. I got that handled because now the baby is a year,
okay.
so she's not as breakable as she used to be.
Sure.
And your son can do chores now. He's old enough to do some, to earn his keep.
Yeah, he helped.
I thought of your son because we had chicken nuggets for dinner, like a 5-year-old.
That's pretty great.
That was what we. Oh yeah. Oh, I know, Ken. Well, as soon as the new year starts, we'll see if there is another Christmas fiasco. If Santa leaves your son some sort of thing that he does not want, and yet then comes to enjoy later, like the guitar.
No, I don't think we're risking it. Like we're not really getting any. We're not really getting any toys.
You mean Santa's not? Are you not a Santa family?
No, we're doing the Santa thing. Someone wrote into our podcast one time on when I worked for Discovery.
Yeah.
Someone wrote in was like, what you do is you have Santa give some small gifts, but the big ones come from mommy and daddy. And then that way, like, if any other kids didn't have Santa visit, then they won't feel as bad or something like that.
I got it. This has been a 27-year fight at our house.
Really?
Not a fight. We never got presents that weren't from Santa.
Okay.
Growing up, all our presents were from Santa. My beloved got kind of like what you described, one or two from Santa, and then everything else was from mom and dad. And I've done an informal survey. A lot of people did it that way. So I might be wrong, but I don't care. And
Oh,
now
you think everything should just be from Santa?
Santa. Well, that's how we did it. Now I'm out of the game. I'm out of the Santa game. So, I support Santa. Kid came up to me the other day, asked me if I believed in Santa. I told him that's really out of my pay grade. Take it up with the principal. I'm not getting sued. So
What happened to your Christmas?
all right. So here's Christmas. 27 years it's been the three of us on Christmas. And 2 weeks ago, I finished my radio show and I walked downstairs and Debbie says, Molly called me and asked if we'd be mad if she went to Pennsylvania for Christmas. Because her boyfriend is from Pennsylvania.
Uh-oh.
Now, the boyfriend's parents had invited Molly. I guess when she went there, she made quite a nice impression because Molly's a good kid.
Of
And I
course.
call her a kid because she's my kid. So she makes a good impression. The parents love her. Not a surprise. They asked her if she would come for Christmas. Now, to her boyfriend's credit, he wasn't going to ask her because he didn't want her to miss out on any family stuff here. So she was like, well, no, let me ask, of course, my mother, because, Debbie's got a soft spot.
What would you have said if she had called you up?
I would have said, to be honest, I would have said the same thing Debbie said. That's okay. Go ahead. Because she said, she asked Debbie, will you be mad if I'm not there for Christmas? And so when I came downstairs, Debbie said, Molly called. She asked if we would be mad if she wasn't here for Christmas. And I told her no, that we wouldn't be mad. And I was like, you're right. I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed. It's just weird. It's going to be the weirdest thing because I just looked at Debbie and she looked at me and we were like, I know we were both thinking the same thing. Shit, we're going to be alone on Christmas? Just us? And the dog? And Walter. Of course, Walter will be here because his stocking is here and Santa knows that he's here on Christmas. So Walter is set. Walter's in good shape. But then I also knew that Molly could not pass up a chance to get some presents. So again, she and Debbie concocted a plan where she and her boyfriend are coming here on Friday, the 22nd, and we're going to have dinner and exchange gifts and make it like a little Christmas thing. And then they'll leave for Pennsylvania from our house on the morning of the 23rd. And it's weird because I was thinking about this the other day and I'm thinking of you, and I was talking to some teachers who have young kids. There's like 3 stages of Christmas, and you are still in the most fun stage of Christmas, where there's Santa and wonder and the kids' eyes are and the reindeer, and you're chewing up carrots and spitting them on the grass, and you're leaving out milk and cookies, and it's the whole thing. And I don't know, Santa used to leave a note at our house thanking Molly for the milk and cookies. So that's like the first stage of Christmas when you're a parent. And that's the great stage. And then you move to that middle stage where Santa's not really playing a part anymore. And that's still fun. The first year is weird, but then it's still fun. And now we are about to enter that third stage of Christmas where some years she's going to be here and some years she's not going to be here. And now, I don't know if we should take this as foreshadowing. You've dated much more recently than I have. She already told him that next year their Christmas is here.
There you go.
So she's planning ahead. Debbie is already planning for 2 years from now when we can now travel at Christmas because Molly won't be here and we can do whatever we want.
Wow.
So Debbie's like, I think London at Christmas would be lovely. And I was like, yeah, London at Christmas would be lovely. No?
Everything be closed.
At Christmas time? Have you been to London at Christmas?
No, but my wife always says, she's just like, the Brits take Christmas very seriously
I
because they
know.
don't.
That's why well, maybe not on Christmas. Yeah, right on Christmas Day. I think it would be beautiful, you know?
Yeah, beautiful. But I understanding is it's like they don't
Okay.
have as many public holidays, or they don't have a lot of public
That's true.
holidays or
Well, you
something.
know
And
what?
so it's kind of like, and that's why
Here's what
the
I'm
Christmas
thinking.
Carol is such a big deal because, Ebenezer,
Scrooge.
he's like, dude, it's the one day,
Yeah.
Mr.
I'm
Popper or whatever, and his
I'm thinking a
little
beach,
tiny,
Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim.
yeah, Tiny Tina,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tiny Tina. Wow. Are you
It's
reimagining A Christmas Carol?
it's 2023, Brian. If they do A Christmas Carol again, it has to be Tiny Tina.
Tiny Tina.
Otherwise, it's racist.
Or it'd be Gigantic Gerald because they don't want to you don't want to offend the wee
Oh,
ones.
there you go.
He's specially abled because he's got giganticism. And his head has to have its own bed in the tiny little Cratchit home. The rest of his body's on the floor by the fire. And he's like a Great Dane version of a human.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, I've read Dickens. I understand, but this is also 2023. By the time we go, it'll be 2025. I'm sure if you're staying at a swanky hotel, you can get yourself a dinner and wander the snow-covered streets of London. I'm not worried about it. Plus, I may want to go somewhere warm. I'm at a Christmas with the Cranks it. Look, no,
You did that in California for years.
and it was great.
Dumb.
It
No.
was the best.
Awful.
Christmas Eve dinner on a patio.
No. Thumbs down.
Oh,
2 thumbs down.
3.5 thumbs right up your.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and I'm
That's
not saying
because
that
you're
as a
racist.
supremacist.
That's because you're part of the Proud
We
Boys.
just made the same joke.
I know we did because like minds think alike, or great minds think alike.
And so do we. Ha!
So Molly's not going to be here for Christmas, and
Well-
it'll be fine. It'll just be weird. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I really keep, and I don't say this as like I'm protesting too much. I'm not mad about it. I did get one dig in because you know me. I gotta get one dig in.
Sure.
So she's saying all this stuff, and I'm like, well, who's going to read you the book on Christmas Eve? And the book being the night before Christmas.
The Bible. You read her the New Testament every Christmas Eve.
Well,
which seems
no.
excessive, but
You're right. I did when she was younger. I went Young Testament. Now I flipped the script. A lot of vengeful Old Testament shit on Christmas Eve.
Old Testament.
I go Old Testament, and it's a lot of fire and brimstone and a lot of craziness. So, but every year, even except for this one, up till last year, every year she asks me to read the night before Christmas before she goes to bed. And I said, so who's going to read it to you this year? I said, are you going to buy a book and let his dad read it to you? And she was like, oh. I said, you could FaceTime me and I'll read it to you. I'll read it to his whole family. Drunk with a Santa hat on. And another thing, as I flew out of sight, you took my daughter away, you bastards. Merry Christmas. Good night. Maybe we do
well
that.
met.
Thank you. Hail fellow well met. That's me. So that's the big monkey wrench. We're having a little we're having a little Christmas on Friday with Molly and her boyfriend and Walter. Then Christmas Eve, we're going to do, usually we've gone out to my mom's, but since Molly's not here, I was like, Ma, you want me to come pick you up? I'll bring you to our house. So you can, because she hears about us decorating and the new tree and stuff. So she's going to come here on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day, we're just going to be here. And I'm working the morning of the 26th. So I got to work some on Christmas Day anyway, much like Bob Cratchit in the old days. I got to do that. Because Ebenezer Radio is on my back, giving me one lump of coal for the furnace. Crazy. Just unbelievable. Speaking of the new tree, we got a new tree this year. It's a disco tree.
How many trees do you have?
Right now we have 2 full trees. and a 4-foot tree in Molly's bedroom.
My God.
And that's it.
We need to bring my son over because my son is freaked out that church has 2 trees.
Bring them over.
He's like, "There's 2 Christmas trees. Oh my gosh." And I was like, "Yeah, there are."
Yeah, bring them
It's
over the
pretty
week
cool.
after Christmas.
It's man, the family thing is my parents' house, my mom's house makes Rockefeller Plaza look like a dumpster fire. Like it is the most immaculately decorated place for every holiday, but Christmas is like it's like you're in Christmas, like you're in the
Yeah.
North Pole. Like you might as well take the Polar Express to my parents' house. So I love the idea of spending time there. For me, Christmas is about time with friends and family. So I had a thing with my wife, and she's just kind of like, I want, the kids should wake up at their house on Christmas morning and go open presents. Yeah, that's fine. But at some point during Christmas week, we gotta go. We gotta go to Rockford. We gotta be at my
Yeah.
parents. We gotta open some presents there. We gotta have a big meal as a family, see my siblings. That's just the way it is. I think I'm not splitting with my wife's family because they're spread out everywhere. A and B, Christmas isn't like their thing. Like they do
Okay.
Christmas, but it's not. It's not like with me. Like my family, it's like Christmas, right? And it's kind of like with you guys. Like it's a big deal. You put up a
Yeah.
lot of trees. You do a lot of stuff, right? It's a central it's an extremely important time of year for us. So, but all we're doing is we're going to go into Rockford the day before Christmas Eve,
Okay.
wake up there on Christmas Eve morning and do presents from my parents and do a
Nice.
little family dinner thing. Then head back to Lombard and spend the night on Christmas Eve, set up the cookies for Santa and everything. Wake up on Christmas Day, do the presents, and then go to church. We can't do church on Christmas Eve because Christmas Eve services are the ones before like 10 p.m. or midnight mass.
Yeah.
Right? The kid-friendly ones, they're all at 4 p.m. So we
Right.
would either have to do it at 4 in Rockford, and I don't like the cathedral that my parents go to,
Okay.
or we'd have to drive back really, like, it basically, we open presents and then leave, so it doesn't make sense. But what I can envision, like, because the thing is, you and Debbie and Molly could just do Christmas like 2 days earlier, and then you could do all the same traditions, and then it's
Well,
just like, oh, it's just
that's
the
kind of what we're
23rd.
doing. I'll probably end up reading her the night before Christmas, 2 nights before Christmas.
Exactly.
And I'll just say it's 2 nights before Christmas and all through the house, And but no, I I agree with your wife. I think that's for me growing up, no matter what was happening, we were always home on Christmas. One, because we couldn't afford to travel. It wasn't like we were going anywhere for Christmas.
Right.
And everybody was in Chicago. So Christmas Day, everybody was coming to our house. My grandparents, my cousin, everybody was coming to our house. So it was easy to open it up. I think when they're little, I think when you get to a certain age, if Christmas morning they're up in Rockford or something, that's a little different. But in Christmas stage 1, there's no confusion, because I've heard people have to tell, oh, you don't know, Santa will know where you are, even though you're not at home. I don't know.
That's too complicated.
Too
No,
complicated is right.
But my problem is that for most working adults, being at home a day off work with your family for a full day on Christmas is a treat.
Yes.
That is not my reality. My reality is I am home every day, all day. I don't leave the house. I
So
try
you
to
want
go
to
to
send your children away for Christmas?
No, I'm just saying like for the idea of like the 4 of us wake up on Christmas and do presents and then it's just the 4 of us all day. I can't get excited about that
Okay.
because that's my life. I work for a West Coast company. I don't have to log on till 10 a.m. So I have breakfast with my kids most mornings, or I sleep in a little bit and join them just after breakfast. And then I'm here. And like my wife brought the kids to daycare today, and I was just here. And I tried to leave once to go work out. My car wouldn't start.
Oh,
So I had to
no.
use I have a portable battery that you can charge and that'll actually jump it. But
Yeah.
that wasn't charged, so I had to charge that to jump it. So I missed my personal trainer. But like I got to leave once today, and that was to the post office a quarter of a mile away from me to drop off one thing to mail, and then I came back. Like you're the second adult human I've interacted with today outside my family. The other person was a post office employee. So like for
Who was
people that
more
work
cordial?
what's that?
Who was more cordial?
To me,
Yeah, to
Oh, the
you.
post office person.
That's what I figured. All right.
Yeah, very normal. But like, I don't know. I'm starting to have a hard time working from home, which is unfortunate because I'm gonna be doing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people out there are also. But so when she says something like "Let's all wake up," like I'm just like, cool. Again, we'll wake up. Again, it'll be
Like
the same
Groundhog's Day.
thing.
Your whole life is Groundhog.
And my son will still have his tantrums, right? We'll open a present and he's still subject to the same like outbursts and it could be miserable. So like I'm actually excited to go to church at 10 a.m. on Christmas Day after we do gifts because like it's a thing that we're doing and
Yeah.
we'll see people and like be part of like public. So I don't know. That wasn't really leading
Would
anywhere,
you
but
like go out to breakfast? Like we used to
mm,
when I was young, because my mom would be cooking and my dad and the five of us were no help. We would pick up my grandma and we would go out to breakfast on Christmas morning after church. Normally we started going to church Christmas Eve because that negated having to deal with trying to get everybody
right.
situated on Christmas Day. So we would go out to breakfast and it was always nice. There was a little family restaurants were always open and you could, have a little something
We
to
should
get
look
out of the
into
house.
that because I was gonna make something nice, but my go-to holiday recipe is prime rib, and I believe my parents are making that for Christmas
Ooh,
Eve.
that'll be tasty.
So I could either make a new recipe, but also, I mean, I'll see who's open. I don't know how many places will be open, but were there a lot of
Just
places
for
open?
breakfast. Yeah, it was like the kind of 24-hour family restaurants, not like a den, but like the private loaves. And we would just go for breakfast. So it would be like 9 o'clock. We'd eat.
Okay.
And our Christmas mornings this year's going to be our Christmas morning on the 23rd is the usual Cinnabon. That
Mm.
you have to have Cinnabon, according to Debbie and Molly, on Christmas morning. But since those are on the 23rd, and then my mom loves the chocolate donuts from Weber's, so I have to pick those up on Christmas Eve morning. And then I ordered a coffee cake for Christmas morning. It's gonna if I don't lose a toe from diabetes, which I don't have yet, but if I keep eating like that, I will. It'll be a Christmas miracle.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of sweets, but it's like
Did you see the picture of my tree, by the way?
no. Where did you
Speaking
post
of,
a picture of your tree?
I tweeted it. So Friday, so I've got like I don't do as many lights on the tree as I'd like to because my wife doesn't want like 1,000 lights.
Oh my
Fine,
God, why? What's the matter with her?
I don't know. So I
You
put like
know I
5 or
admire her, but sometimes things come out and I'm like, "What happened to this woman?"
there's the rare occasion when she's wrong. This is one of them. So I had like 5 or 6 strings of lights on the tree.
Oh,
It was like decently populated. I'm like, okay, decorated with ornaments, great. Friday, wake up and it's just like a third of it, like the top of the tree is out, the top like foot of the tree is out,
oh
and then like a
no.
bunch of spots in the middle. So I'm like, don't worry about it. Even though now, I've got 2 different types of lights. I've got the regular Christmas lights, the colored ones, and
Sure.
then LEDs, which are much more dim. They're much more dim. They're like 150 light strings of LED lights, and they're
Okay.
small, kinda like nubs, just like the
Oh,
tiny dot ones, right?
yeah,
So usually the tiny dot ones are for other applications, like other rooms, other whatever.
yeah.
But I had a couple of those laying around and I'm like, you know what? I've got like 300 LED lights. If I add them on top of the other lights, it'll kind of fill it in and then it'll just look like a nice little mishmash.
Okay.
Great. Did that Friday, all good to go. Friday night, I had a bunch of nightmares about tree lights going out. I had this nightmare that half the tree went out, and the whole tree went out, and then I kept unplugging and replugging. It turned out that the whole thing went out, and I unplugged it, and then I just twisted it, turned it 180 degrees and
Yeah.
plugged it back in, and it worked fine, and it was just the plug. Super weird. And of course, I wake up, my wife is probably thinking, this guy's a nut job. He's neurotic. What's wrong with him? Well, like 6 hours later, so I turn on the tree. It's fine. Go upstairs, do some stuff, come back down. The middle, like third is
Oh,
out, just
oh
out,
no.
completely out. And I don't know how this is possible given the way I twisted the LEDs around the tree. I don't know how it's physically possible. So today, I was at somewhere. No, not the post office. I did stop somewhere else. I stopped by the Jewel after the
Sure.
post office because since my battery had died, I needed to keep my engine running for like 10 minutes. So, to get the battery
Yeah, you're
charged.
just driving around,
Yeah,
sure.
so I was like, I'll go to the grocery store. It's like 8 minutes away. So I go to Jewel, I get some lights, just put it back on. But my whole tree situation's been a disaster.
Is it a real tree? Did you get a real tree or a
No,
fake?
we've been reusing the fake tree for a
Okay.
few years now. So the reason I bought the LEDs in the first place is that I was terrified the real tree would light on fire. At
Really?
no point would I put the regular lights on a real tree because the regular lights emit heat and the LEDs don't. So my logic was like, oh, put the LEDs on the real tree. There's no way anything will happen. I'm very safety conscious, Brian.
No, I understand that. I just, we're not using those old school big bulbs that got to be about 100 degrees. That like when I was real little, I see pictures of our tree and it was those big giant bulb, just a bulb.
Ugh.
But yeah, I've always used regular Christmas lights, not LEDs. And they never set a tree on fire. You're fine.
Oh, Mike just shared in the chat, Lightkeeper Pro miniature light repairing tool fixes Christmas holiday light.
I'll give you one of the 3 that I have that work sporadically.
Okay.
At best. They make it seem like they're going to work all the time on every string of lights, and they do not.
I'll take it.
That is the most frustrating. Yeah, all right. Next, when you bring, you got to bring the kids over. It's very well. You've seen the house. It's very holidayish.
We're not working next week. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, it doesn't matter. We're around. I'm around.
Yeah.
Someone is
bring the
around.
kids. Anyway, so the light that's the most disheartening thing, and that's why we ended up with a new tree this year because we've gone through a lot of trees because we've had different size houses and rooms that we like in our first house when we moved back, we had a 9-foot tree in the family room. It was ginormous.
Hot.
And that was the house that had like 5 full-size trees in it. Because
I remember that.
Then when Debbie's mom was moving, she gave us a tree that was beautiful. And in our last house, we had that up in the living room. And then we got 2 6.5-foot trees for the basement. Well, we were using the 6.5-foot tree the last few years here in the living room, and the lights were starting to go out. And I would add extra lights, and some of those were. So I was like, we need a new tree. Plus, it was too small. I needed a bigger tree. So we got this one, and we were looking between the LEDs and the regular Christmas lights. The LED lights were much, much brighter, but also much more expensive. So a lot more money for a pre-lit LED tree. They're really bright. They look great. And this tree has, I started to tell you, a remote control. So I can change it from solid white lights, solid color lights, blinking white or color, fading in white or color, changing from white to color, or just flashing disco tree. And so you can imagine sometimes as I'm sitting there looking at my tree and go, it's time for disco tree. And Debbie hates disco tree. She wants it. I like white lights on the tree because it's brighter and it shows off the ornaments more. She likes the multicolored lights, which are very pretty. So that's the nice part of this tree. We can alternate. Like last night was white lights. The week before had been multicolored lights. And I don't have to get up to do it. I just sit there, click, click, with my little remote. Molly saw it. She's like, why did you get a remote? And then I showed her, and she's like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So once on those pre-lit trees, once the lights start going, you can try. Like I said, I'll give you
mine are not pre-lit, though.
Oh, you string them?
I string them.
Oh, let's just get new lights.
But the thing is, this is what I tweeted about. At least one of those strings is literally 15 years old. And I'm like, why am I hoarding this? I'm not poor. Like, I can afford a $3 string of lights.
Right. It's not like that's going to break the bank. But I would do the same thing with my outdoor lights for years. I'm like, oh, this one's out in the center. Well, when I get to that part, I'll just stick that inside the bush.
Dude, that's what I did with
the rest.
There was one string that only had half lit. And I was like, well, the other half's lit. I'll just spool it up and it's there in the core of the tree. Now I've got like 9 dead strings in my tree and a bunch layered on top and mishmash. It's gonna be impossible to take down.
It's I got rid of 90%. Well, I didn't get rid of them. They burned out. Like I would test them before I put them away. I'd take them out, they would burn out. And I got to the point I'm like, I paid like $1.99 at Target for these lights years ago. Literally, at least 5, maybe 8 years ago. I can get some new lights. So Costco, the last couple of years, Costco did all my external lighting. They didn't come and do it, but that's where I got them.
Very nice.
Very bright. Oh, beautiful.
While we're on the topic of home improvement, can I throw out a quick conundrum?
Please do.
A basement, as it's painted, the floor of the basement's painted gray, not like a cement gray, a little bit lighter gray. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. In my basement, 1939 house, very old, almost 100 years old. Around the edge of my basement, my unfinished cement basement, there's like a little kind of a trough, like kind of rails and some holes drilled in. So in case any water comes in, it captures the water on the edge and it'll just go down. Never had any drainage issues. In the middle of the basement, there's 2 little drain covers, like the size of your hand, just like a round drain cover, right in the middle. Well, anyway, I got downstairs the other day and all around those 2 drain covers, brown.
Ooh.
Just brown. Now, this was the day it rained crazy the other day.
Yeah.
So I texted my dad and I'm like, what's the verdict? And he's like, I don't know. It rained a lot. Maybe it's backed up. Got some mud down there. Keep an eye on it. Anyway, it went down about an hour ago. More wet, dark, brown, something. I don't think it didn't reek, right? So this is not like toilet stuff.
Okay.
It did not smell good.
Right.
I don't know anything about plumbing. I don't know about any drainage, plumbing, sewage. I am completely ignorant of all of this. If anyone in the chat has any ideas, because Mike just put mud in quotation marks. I am hoping it did, like I said, if it was something worse, I think I would have immediately smelled it. But I went down, I smelled, I'm like, honestly, to make the Bourbon County Stout analogy, like this Bourbon County Stout I just had that's 4 years old, not as fresh as it was, but you still get some aftertaste. Like you're like, oh, I get a hint of this. There's like a hint of a smell of something not great down there, but a hint of it. I do have a sub pump, Sally. And again, that's the weird thing is the drainage all around the edge of the basement. There's no water there, no colors there, no brownness. Nothing seems to have happened there. And
these might be going out. These might be like the one along the edge might just be going out into the yard.
Okay.
This drain in the middle may be going out to your main. There could be something blocking it up. It could be it could be between that drain and the end of your property where they'd have to like sometimes roots and all kinds of stuff grows in there. And then if the rain comes too much, it backs it up.
Oh.
I've had that happen. It could be something outside your property, like on the parkway and into the street. That would be good because that would be the city has to pay for it to fix it. But yeah, it's the main is backing up into your house. That's what that is. We had my very first house had a standpipe. So it was a 3-foot, like where that drain cap would be. Imagine a pipe coming up 3 feet. Yeah. That was to keep it, if it backed up a little bit, there was never a chance it was going to back up 3 feet to overflow the standpipe. But when it's just on the floor, if it backs up enough, it'll just start coming out. We had our last house in the basement. We had that too. And we had that happen a couple times.
So call a plumber.
Call a plumber.
We will do that. Sally asked if I have window wells with drains. There's 2 window wells. One is one's underneath our back deck. I don't know if there's a drain related, but I mean, not a whole lot gets there because it's under the back deck. And then the other one's on the side of the house, but there's an overhang and it's at a pitch so that I don't think any water could even drain down there. So
Yeah.
We don't really get it in the window wells.
Well, if there's no trail coming from the walls
Right.
to
Then
the
there's not.
drain, it's not your foundation is not leaking. The water is coming up from that pipe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something's blocking that pipe somewhere down the line.
Okay. All right. Marta asking, do you think it's soil and organic matter that's rotting? Have you spoken with any of your neighbors? It's a good question. I will find out. Our basement has been bone dry since we moved in, and we moved in the year we moved in. There was one of those springs where we had literally like 12 inches of rain some days or whatever. Like the neighbors' backyard, their backyard neighbors, they would have like a swamp. Like it was
Oh
pool
God.
of standing water. The whole yard was just a pool, and our basement bone dry. I checked every wall. We were good to go. So that's not an issue. This is specifically the middle of the basement, 2 drains. So
Yeah. It's
sounds
something
like
something is blocking something's blocking it. Could just maybe the pipe just, cracked a little and something grew in it. There's mud, there's roots,
well,
dead critters
last week I put my son. What was he doing?
in
I
a
put her
box.
down for a nap. No, I told my son, I was like, "Hey, I gotta put your sister down for a nap. I'm gonna give her a bottle. I'll be right back." He's downstairs playing, perfectly fine, perfectly happy. Go into her room, give her a little bottle. He pucks his head in for a second, and I'm like, "No, bud, it's not time to hang out. You gotta go play." Well, so I hear the toilet flush a minute later. I'm like, "Great." So I come back out, and I was like, "Oh, did you go pee-pee in the potty, bud?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I open the bathroom door. He's like, "No, don't go in there." So I go in there. He threw 3 Christmas cards in the toilet that we hadn't opened. 3 Christmas cards that we had gotten in the mail from
With
family,
gift cards in them.
right in the toilet, and tried to flush them down the toilet. Turns out cardstock does not flush down the toilet very easily.
Oh.
He was in trouble after that.
Yeah.
I was not happy.
What do you
I
do?
did.
Hang him by his ankles? What do you beat him like
I
a piñata?
I put him in his room, and I said, "You are to stay in here until further notice." And
Until
I
next
closed the door.
Christmas.
And he didn't even cry because he knew.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew.
Was water overflowing or
No, actually, they
Oh,
were
thank
just floating
God.
on. I mean, I got him out. I pulled him
Okay.
out because I wasn't gonna not do that. Pulled him out, washed my hands assiduously.
Did you ask him for his motivation?
No.
You didn't care.
No, he was jealous of his sister because I had
Right.
to give her a bottle because she's a baby and can't do anything, you know?
Ken says you should have given him a swirly so the punishment fit the crime.
Maybe maybe there's a Christmas card in the water main.
Oh, what if that's it? What if
Oh,
what if they pull it out and it's a Christmas card?
unbelievable.
That son of a
All right.
There goes your college fund, punk.
We went way long on the Christmas talk, which I think was great, but where's your toe?
Alright.
What happened?
Alright, so
What did you do? Not can this not be graphic? It's the Christmas special.
Yeah,
Look,
it's
I
not
wore red for it.
You did. I didn't. I just got done with radio and ate some nuggies. So,
Yeah,
all
because
right,
you work 70 hours a day.
it's neither here nor there. So was it 2 weeks ago was outdoor decorating day. So I had to make sure that our house was done on December 1st because December 2nd, Molly was bringing the boyfriend here for the first time. And she had asked if everything would be done. So that's fine. It was warm, but it was wet. And so I've got rocks, like landscape rocks, slate around the bushes. So my feet were slipping a lot, even in my shoes. Well, I finished that day, and the next day I had to go out to my mom's and bring all her Christmas stuff in from the shed and do some of her outdoor decorating. And my feet, I wore the same shoes because they're ones I bought to go to Ireland. They're Merrow walking shoes, but they're waterproof. They're usually pretty comfortable. Well, after Saturday and Sunday of my foot sliding around in my shoe, I sit down Monday night and there is a ginormous blister on the side of my big toe. And I'm like, oh, okay. Ginormous blister. I've had blisters before. I'll wrap it up and it'll be fine. I looked up, should I pop it? No, you shouldn't pop a blister. You should just do this. And I'm like, well, okay, I got to be on my feet all day at school. And from all my various foot issues over the years, I'm pretty good at taping up my toes. and patting them and all that. So I do that. And the first day, everything goes good. The blister pops on its own in my shoe, but there's the gauze and everything's on it. Everything's good. The next day, I think to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make things easier on myself. We had some of those big Band-Aids. And I was like, well, I'll just put the pad on the side of my toe and I'll use a Band-Aid today. That'll be easier. Two things. One, I didn't realize that the blister went not only on the side of my foot, but literally all around the bottom of my foot. The entire pad of my big toe was a blister. The side of my toe was a blister. And two, that the bandage I used was one of those tough stick Band-Aids that are never supposed to come off.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I didn't realize that till I went to take it off that night after school, and it ripped off a huge swath of skin on the bottom of my big toe, which now I have been alternating between, like right now I don't have any shoes on, so the air can get to it and dry it out. But then during the day, it's all neosporined and wrapped and bandaged, so it's in my shoe. And the old part of the side part of the blister now has turned, everything's all, my toe is like, it's almost like a Christmas decorations. It got yellows and reds and purples in there. It's very, very colorful. But thank goodness, knock on wood, because I have been so diligent about keeping it clean and wrapped, it has not become infected. But like I say to Debbie, hey, will you take a look at this? And she says, no, I am not looking at your foot. And I'm like, but I saved your life numerous times. And she's like, no, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm like, oh, all right, I see. And then to add, so that's my right foot. Last night, a number of months ago, I rarely go barefoot in the house anymore, just because my feet hurt. And I was barefoot and I was walking up the stairs, and we have, hardwood floors on the stairs. And somehow I whacked my left foot into the stair, and it then hit the little overhang. And the big toenail got like a blood blister underneath the nail. And I didn't realize that. And this is now going on a couple months. I was looking at it, and all of a sudden I pulled the nail a little bit, and all the blood came out. And then it stopped, and it was fine. And then, last week I'm looking, and it looks like the whole nail is about to come off my toe. Well, it turns out only half the nail came off last night. Half my big toenail directly down the middle, half came off, half stayed on. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I'm a danger to myself and others, and not out of any sort of ill will. Just because I'm living and existing, things are happening to me. I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to decorate my house and my mom's house. Now I got a toe that looks like, it's a Leroy Neiman painting.
Yeah.
And the other one, I'm just walking up the stairs, minding my own business, not causing anybody any problems. Wham, I whack my toe. Then half my nail is gone. I don't understand it.
Nice Leroy Neiman reference.
Threw that in there. Did you like that? That was very good. You know why Leroy Neiman is top of mind? I actually watched Rocky Balboa last night.
Oh, all right.
When I was getting ready to go to bed. And Leroy Neiman has been in all the Rocky movies. Yes, it is almost like Merry Medical Christmas.
I can actually step up to you this week.
Let's do it. Cody's got an injury or a malady.
I checked out. So my gym, I see a personal trainer, and all I do is lift.
Yeah, because you're swole. You want to be swole.
I'm much stronger than I was a year ago. Turns out you need to do cardio. My cardio sucks. I have done too much weed in 2023, edibles or occasionally vaping dry herb. Not a lot. I'm not a pothead, but apparently enough to I just need to take better care. I need better heart and lungs and circulation, because I'm plateauing with my lifting because I don't run and I have no good circulation, so I can't get stronger. You got to have both. So I checked out the community gym. Lombard just built a brand new gym facility like 5 years ago,
Nice.
and it's only like $20 a month for residents.
Is that right?
It's dirt cheap. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I went to my wife to tour it because I was like, I gotta do cardio. Because on my personal training gym, all they have is like one treadmill that kind of doesn't work. It actually like skips and like it's dangerous. I'm not going to run on that past like 3 speed. And that's not
Okay.
running. So checked it out because I know they had indoor track. Check that out. They got a Stairmaster. They got some other equipment. I'm like, cool, I can get behind this. They got great view out the window. It's beautiful. I'm like, all right, I'm all pumped up. The lady at the front desk, super nice. She gave us like 10 free passes. She's like, yeah, check it out, blah, blah, blah. If I want only track access for a year, it's $60.
That's it?
Just literally like I get the whole year.
$5 a month?
Track access. You just pay $60. You get a whole year.
Wow.
It's great. So I'm all jacked up. I'm like, cool. All right. Today I'm going to go see my personal trainer. I'm going to go running tomorrow. I'm going to do like, because my trainer doesn't work Tuesdays. So I'm like, he'll never work on Tuesday. I'll never lift on Tuesday. So I'll run. I'm like, I'm going to get in this routine this week. Boom. And then I wake up. My like leg was like itchy the other day.
Oh,
I have a
no.
giant ass cyst on my inner, like upper inner left leg. Just horrifically painful. So I'm going to actually call a dermatologist and be like, this is bad. So anytime I like walk or move my legs, it just hurts. Yeah. So unless I do like like a horse saddle riding kind of like walk when I'm running, I'm not going to do that. So and then that plus my car being dead this morning, it took me 8 hours to charge my portable battery.
What this tells me? No cardio for Cody.
No,
all the signs say no.
No, not this week, but I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out. I'm going to lift Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday. I may do 3 days. I may do a 3-day split at the end of this week just to get it ready for Christmas. And then
to get ready for a swole Christmas.
Yeah, I'll get my skin all figured out and hopefully
do some at-home surgery. Take a really hot bath and then lance it.
That is horrific.
Is it?
That is horrific.
I don't know.
I can do I could do 4 full extension dead hang chin-ups.
Ooh.
Full extension, like straight up, like with good control. Like I couldn't do 0 a year ago.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you. My goal is to do pull-ups, wide grip pull-ups, which I've never been able to do one. But my back muscles are getting pretty good. Like I think I can do it soon.
I think do yourself a favor. Watch Rocky Balboa and make that your goal. He goes out in his backyard and he's just hanging by 2 things. And he's pulling himself up.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's it. I want you to just be able to wear overalls. That's all. No shirt, just overalls.
We have better skin in 2024. There's my glass. Thank you. Oh, my lovely wife. So I poured this prop and I poured her a glass. And then I was like, there's a little bit left if you want a liter, but can you give me some? And she's giving me some.
I hear the glass clinking in the back. It's like some AMSR or ASMR.
ASMR.
ABCD.
Thank you for this. Do you want me to do ASMR, Brian?
No. Ew. That gave me a cyst.
I'm a cat. I'm eating pizza. Why? This has been your ASMR.
I was going to call Steve Dell if you're feeding a cat pizza. That's not right.
Thank you. I think she heard me say thank you. I hope I didn't wake up my son.
If not, just play this back for her when you said how wonderful she was and thank you.
She apparently spilled a little. That's okay. Thank you.
Spilled it. All of a sudden, Cody's camera goes out.
No.
JP thinks Jean-Paul thinks you're a stud. I think it's because you have a lady bringing your beers.
JP's a stud. Little known fact on this show.
Really?
As I lick my fingers, that's creepy.
I was going to say, yeah. This is a little fact on this. I could fist my mouth.
Back to the ASMR break. This is horrific. Let's go on to something else. You
awful.
Let me tell you about Elmhurst.
Please, yes, you went to a community Christmas event
here in Lombard, Illinois. Beautiful Lombard, Illinois. I'm licking my fingers some more. We have beautiful Lilacia Park just across. It's right next to the Metro.
If you take you say
Lilacia, it's spelled lilac with an IA at the end.
Oh,
so Lilacia Park. But my wife met some locals that explain that it's pronounced Lilacia. Lilacia. Right. So if you take the Metro past Lombard on the UPW line, you will see it because it's literally right across the street, and it is lit up with like hundreds of thousands of lights, Brian. The
Nice.
trees are wrapped. They have all these wire frames. They've got Christmas presents in the shape of Christmas lights, snowmen, big Santas. They've got a Santa in there. They fill the pond with all these blue lights. It's full of like a
Oh,
net
wow.
of blue lights, and they've got like some white LEDs that like kind of shimmer within it, so it looks like what like it's gorgeous.
It sounds nice.
And it's one of these, like, you can see it from anywhere, right? Like, if you go by it on the metro and it's dark, you cannot miss it. It's amazing. So we are so fortunate to have that in our lovely town of Lombard. So, we missed the lighting for the party that I attended when you got sick.
Right.
I was at a party that you unfortunately had to miss, but we had to miss Lombard's lighting of it, which is fine because the last time we went to the lighting, my son screamed and cried because
Oh, I remember. Yes, he didn't like
it
it.
scared him. So my wife finds out, well, Elmhurst is doing their lighting. Let's go to Elmhurst, the extremely rich suburb, 2 stops over.
Right.
2 stops over. We'll even take the metro. We'll get the kids on. It's my
Oh.
daughter's first metro ride. My son loved it. He's like, we're on the train. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. It
So we
sounds
go.
great.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's like Wednesday, Thursday night. So we go. There's like a 10-minute walk from the metro. All right, not quite as accessible as ours, but that's fine. Yeah, 10 minutes. It's about a 10-minute walk, and now their downtown's beautiful. All the trees are lit up. The whole parkway on all these streets with all the little businesses and their tiny little downtown, gorgeous, very nice. So we get to the site, and it's a big park, right? Like it's a big field, right? Picture like a soccer field,
Okay.
and there's a stage there that they had set up, and they're blasting, music and having a DJ, well, Santa's going to be here in a little bit, so make sure the kids are ready because Santa's coming to Elmhurst.
They get somebody from B96?
Probably.
All right.
So they got that, and then everyone on stage is like a corporate sponsor, like thanks to our number one of 45 corporate sponsors, and then you've got like 12 corporate sponsors just like doing like awkward dancing on the stage. And it's like, okay, and there's this big like mansion, and it's like, oh, we're gonna open the mansion and give you a tour if you want later, and that's part of the festivities. And there's like 2 food trucks, and I'm like, okay, there's like a lot of people there, but we're in a big open field.
Sure.
And there's like one big Christmas tree by the house, and we're kind of looking around, and there's like a park around us, and we're like, okay, this will be cool. So we get our little snacks, and we go in the middle, and then they're like, all right, everybody, count down. We're gonna do the countdown, at 10, and they start the countdown. Now, when we went to Lombard's lighting a couple years ago, the whole park was pitch black, and they counted down, and then they said, all right, 1, and then the whole place lit up with hundreds of thousands of lights, and everyone's cheering, and my son started crying because he was 2.
Terrifying.
It was hilarious. I'm sad, but it's hilarious. So at Elmhurst, so we're in this field, and we're looking around, and they go, 2, 1, and so people start clapping, and we're like, and I was like, did the lights not go on? Like, was there like a short circuit?
What happened?
So there were probably like, all right. Again, picture like a soccer field.
Okay.
Imagine like maybe 20 to 25 Christmas trees about 4 feet in height.
Ooh.
Surrounding the perimeter of this park.
Yeah.
And they all light up at the same time with white lights.
Okay.
That was it.
That is not impressive.
It was not impressive.
Not impressive at all. Did your son cry then? Or did you cry this time?
My wife and I were laughing at how stupid it was. If you're from Elmhurst or you're on the Elmhurst Planning Committee, I don't mean to dump on you. So what it turns out is,
do it.
Well, I will in a second.
Okay, good.
First, the positive. All the trees were decorated by different people that entered this competition. So I think it was kind of like an art contest kind of thing.
Okay.
So fine. And they put things into it. But the grand prize was you get a free Christmas tree next year. And my wife just made all these jokes about like how this is what you get when Republicans are in charge. And there's no sense of community. And like none of their tax dollars, like that. This is what your tax dollars get.
Yes.
You. This is what your tax dollars get you is like 12 trees on the perimeter of a giant field that have white lights. We literally did, like she said, was I facing the wrong way? And we both just looked around and we're like, we came here for this. It was awful. It was awful. So it made me respect and appreciate
Oh
my community
God.
more. And sometimes it's nice to live in a place where you pay taxes and those taxes go towards like the community, like
Right.
making events for them and giving you something to do and
Yes.
like a nice little like family event. This was like a joke. It was a joke.
It's like one
So
guy with a flashlight.
it,
Click.
like
Merry Christmas,
no, and
everybody.
the whole time, there's, like, people parading up on stage, all the corporate sponsors and, like, doing their little dances and their little jigs, and it's just like, "What are you doing here?"
How did the Elmhurst residents react to this?
I don't know, we
Were
didn't
people
really
cheering?
not really.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't sound cheerable.
It
Like,
was
yours
just
sounds cheerable, and I drove through, Elmwood Park, which is right by my house, and right at the border, they have this thing. I haven't gone in it, but you can see it from the street, and it's like a trail that's all illuminated with trees and archways, and I'm like, "Oh, look, that looks really pretty. That looks like something." And on the other side of town, in one of the parks, they have all kinds of, like, big candy cane things, and I'm like, "Oh, look, that's lovely."
yeah,
But, it doesn't sound like that. Like,
and
Elmhurst
again, I will say downtown Elmhurst generally looked pretty. They had a lot of lights on all the trees, like, it's,
some
it's not like
businesses.
they're not doing anything, but, like, this event, quote, unquote, I was like, 1 out of 10. It was the most underwhelming public Christmas event I've ever been to.
Should take the kids to the Brookfield Zoo for their lights. That's
Yeah,
sweet.
my mom was gonna or my not my mom, Jesus, my, mommy, my wife, who we
Wow,
call
you have
mommy.
some issue. You call your wife mommy, Mike Pence?
Does he do that?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Um, no, because if I'm around my kids, I call her like, that's what they call her, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, whatever you guys do at home is your own business. All
my
right, good.
wife, who is my children's mommy,
Your baby
uh,
mama?
I don't even remember what my sentence was gonna be.
Something about lights in the zoo.
Oh, she tried to take it to Brookfield and it was closed for something, cleaning or I don't know.
They're not doing the big holiday light thing?
No, but probably are. A couple weeks ago, they were closed for some reason, for like a day. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, that's really nice. And you can, you walk around the zoo and you can see some animals and the lights are very pretty. And
Yeah.
Lincoln Park Zoo has a nice one. There's one, but there's one now in Rosemont at the Chicago Dog Stadium. But I looked at it, it was like it's kind of expensive. But they've like when your kids are bigger, it's got a big sledding hill in there, and it's got a train ride that goes through there, and millions of lights. It's a whole big thing.
Well, we really want to go to the Morton Arboretum, does a whole light
Ooh,
thing, but that's
I
expensive. It's like
it's
$40 a
expensive.
person.
I went once, and one, it was freezing,
Yeah.
and it was miserable. And they have some fire pits around, but not enough. And it was very pretty, but when it's that cold, walking around the arboretum loses a lot of its luster.
Yeah.
It's I went. Like I said, it was very pretty. Um, I'd like to fly over it in a heated private chopper. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's how I'd like to see it from now on. I would, or take like a heated golf cart and zip around there. That would be fun. That's how I'd do it. Because one, basically I'm lazy. Two, I'm realizing since I had to do playground duty again today and the wind chill was at 18. It's cold
Wait,
outside.
you went outside with the kids?
Yes, I have playground duty every day for 40 minutes.
When it's below a certain temperature, they're supposed to keep the kids
We're
inside.
we're our school, it's 15 degrees is the wind chill. Above that, you could be outside.
Wasn't the wind chill 16?
We were at 18 while
Oh
we
my
were
god.
outside. It was ridiculously cold.
No. No to that.
And the kids were, "Mr. Noonan, please, can we go inside?" I go, I wish. I'm freezing too. What do you want me to do?"
Dude, I went outside to jump my car and I had to come inside twice to bundle up more.
Yeah, it sucked.
They sucked.
I'm like,
And then my
"Oh."
wife gets home and she's like, "Why didn't you just walk to the gym?" And I was like, "It's a 15-minute walk." And then she was like, "What's wrong with you? You're from the Midwest." And then I felt like an asshole because she was like, I'm like, she's right. If we lived in the city and I had to walk somewhere, I would have. But like, I don't know. Am I old? What happened? Am I just soft?
You live in the suburbs. Suburban people don't walk 15 minutes to get somewhere. We drive everywhere. Plus, it's cold. And yes, you've gotten a little older. It's cold. And I'll go, like, I did it, but I realized, like, tomorrow I have to give up my vanity. I had my earmuffs on and I had gloves. Tomorrow I have to bring my big shoveling gloves and an actual hat because I was cold.
Awful.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then some of the kids don't want to wear their coats because they're cool. And so we have to keep telling them to put their coats on, and the fifth graders get all attitudey. Then I want to just take their coat and set it on fire to keep myself warm. Let
Ooh.
them freeze. Fine. You're so warm, go over there. Anybody who's not, come here. We're burning coats. Mr. Noonan, could you come into my office for a minute? Yeah, what's up? Were you burning students' coats? You bet your ass I was. It was freezing out there, and they didn't want to wear them. They said it wasn't cold. So I was proving a point. All right, fair enough. Carry on. I will. Thank you.
Now I got to ask you about Ken in the chat said that Frankfurt's lighting ceremony is pretty fun, but they've yet to figure out a practical way to light the Granary Tower. Now, didn't you live in or around Frankfurt?
I lived in Frankfurt. We went to the lighting once or twice back in the day. It was very nice. The granary, well, it was a granary. Then for a while, it was like a little indoor shopping center kind of thing.
Ooh.
But that was a long, long time ago. A little, little like custom. Like, oh, here's a t-shirt shop, and oh, here's whatever. I don't know what it is now. I don't know if they still have stuff. I don't know. Do they still have stuff in the granary besides a toilet? It was like a children's museum in there.
If the Granary Tower is really not well lit, I think spotlights are the way to go. Because I've got 2 stories on my house. I mean, I'm not going to buy a 50-foot ladder because I just don't feel like it. And
you know what you should get? They have those projectors that project like.
Yeah, I have that. That's on my garage.
Oh,
I have it on my garage, but
Yeah.
but the problem, like, I've got a 2-story house and it's not that it's like extra tall, but it's just like the ground is so.
Dude, you don't need to be going up on a 2-story ladder.
No, and exactly, but you need a
Stop
really powerful spotlight or laser thing to get to like project clearly on the second floor. So I
Right.
need to get a really bright red and a really bright green spotlight, and then put those 2 on the
If you get them bright and you shoot them straight up, that might work too.
I might have to do that.
I did that. I used to do that at my the Frankfurt house. I'd shoot them straight up into the trees.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm all about exterior illumination.
Dude.
Love it. Oh man, the LEDs outside, bright, very nice. Just real quick, when you come next, now you've been to the house, you saw our tree already, but now this Saturday we went out to my mom's house because all the boxes that I brought in from the shed, she had gone through and put up the things she wanted to put up. So now I had to take the boxes out, and I also had to get rid of Christmas stuff in the garage, which had been in there for months, that was in the cabinet. You remember those story. And I had made her a deal that if she didn't get it out, we were just going to donate all of it because it had been there in the cabinet for 30 years. Nobody had ever used it, and she didn't need it. And so she started a protest, and I said, we made a deal. And I loaded it in the car and took it up to the Salvation Army. But where was I going with this? Oh, so now for the last number of years, we used to have a tree that had all kinds of ornaments on it. Old ornaments from when we were kids, ornaments that had come from my grandfather's house, and all that. Then she went to a tree that was just a white tree with red bulbs, and now she has a Santa Claus tree, and the only ornaments on it are 5 black balls that go down and look like pieces of coal down his chest. So there had been 2 ornaments that I knew were in these boxes in the closet that I wanted to bring to my house. I've wanted to do it for years. One is the very first ornament they bought me my first Christmas, which is about a 6-inch glass pig wearing overalls. And he was always in a place on the forefront of our tree growing up. It's been in my mom's closet for probably 20 years. So I asked her if I could have that. And then there was also a very small glass turkey that had come from my dad's house when he was a kid. So this ornament is probably 90 years old. and it was always at the very top of our tree, and it's seen better days. But I was like, I would like the turkey and my pig. And my mom was like, okay. And then Debbie said, well, I'd kind of like to go through those boxes. And it was fun because we went through these boxes and I was remembering all of these old ornaments from when I was a kid. And we ended up bringing home a good number of them. And I hung them on our tree yesterday. And it was like, so now our tree is a weird hybrid of my childhood, Molly's childhood, our life as a family. It's all blended up on this one tree, which is pretty cool. And the pig is in his rightful spot, and the turkey is right up at the top where it always was my entire life growing up. So it's like, oh, this is nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. So I'm, that was kind of neat.
But you don't have a $300,000 Santa Claus?
I saw that. Come to New Lenox, the town with the $300. What is it? An actual person?
It is a $327,000 illuminated holiday display.
Wow.
It is a 36-foot tall Santa Claus composed of 18,500 LED lights and weighs 6.5 tons.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Found a couple of Chicago Tribune articles on it. Chicago Tribune, November 25th, 2016. New Lenox holiday display features 36-foot tall lit Santa. Patch.com has an article. New Lenox brings back giant Santa Claus from November 2017.
Oh my Lord. I see a picture of that.
Yeah. Google 300,000 Santa New Lenox and you'll find some pictures. There's some, and then click on
beautiful.
Images.
Walk through gingerbread house, tree adorned with red ornaments in the commons gazebo. Or do you say gazebo?
No one says gazebo.
Okay, just checking. The largest lighted Santa Claus in the United States. Who knew? Located just off Route 30. Listen, we're going to be out there. Debbie and I take a swing by New Lenox, make a big night of it.
This show is edutaining.
This show is edutaining. Which heartwarming little story about my ornament. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's it. We're, here. All right. I said before we get out of here, I don't know if I want to end on a negative note, but I think I was disheartened.
I still have a hot take after this anyway.
Well, give me your hot take.
Do the disheartened thing. Do the disheartened thing, and then I'll end on my hot take.
I'm disheartened because, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that we have been, our schedule has been very tough lately. We're all doing a lot of things, and we're working hard to get Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, off the ground. And so we've missed some Mondays. And a couple Mondays ago, when we were taping at our house, Cody and I decided we would do a quick Facebook Live, not as a replacement for this podcast, but just to say hi to the people who might have been disappointed that we weren't on or whatever. So we went on and we did just a funny little thing from my kitchen table, and Cody was acting as Cody does. He was having fun. He was being goofy. I was pretending that it was bothersome, and it was not. We were having a good time in my house. And then somebody posted under there, commented, I used to really like this show, but I'm done with you guys, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody else agreed with them. And I thought, you know what? Good riddance to you, because you weren't really a fan at all. If that is why you decide you're not going to listen anymore, then you didn't really like us in the first place. And that's fine. You don't have to. I'm really happy for the people who do, and I'm very grateful for the people who do, have been for years, will continue to be. But I was just like, one, what do you post that? You're going to hurt my feelings? Shut up. And two, when you agree with it, okay, well, we don't need you. If that's all it took, you weren't really with us to begin with. So there's my takedown. There's my statement. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
That's a Home Alone reference.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I didn't say I wrote it.
Thank you for the home alone. Well, I didn't say you said you wrote it.
All right. Listen, don't come at me with your hot takes.
I'll at you, and then I'll come at you. That's
Don't
what I'll
cancel
do.
me or at me. Don't even. I'm lit. I'm no cap. That's what I said when sports night ended. Anyway, what's your hot take, Cody?
All right, here's what I tweeted. We'll end on this. I tweeted this on December 5th, the year of our Lord 2023. That was what day
It
Tuesday.
was,
A couple Tuesdays ago.
yeah,
All
2
right,
weeks
and I
ago.
quote myself because I can do that.
You can.
Oh, you don't like All I Want for Christmas Is You? Well, I get 1 month of it. 1. You get all 11 other ones. And I would rather listen to that song 500 times in a row than have to literally ever listen to a song by Queen ever again. Yeah, I said
No.
it come out me. There's my hot take.
Hot take. You would rather listen to a month of All I Want for Christmas Is You than one Queen song ever
I'd rather
again.
listen to 2 months of it. One of my friends was like, "Oh, haven't you gone out into stores lately?" And I was like, "No, I don't leave my house." So I haven't heard it for 2 months, but I would listen to it for 2 months because it's a great song. Although I will say Kelly Clarkson's "Underneath the Tree," close contender for my favorite this year.
I haven't
Both
heard that one. Is it? It's
oh,
a new
both
one?
you've heard it. No, it's been out for it's like, "You're here, bright in the day,
Oh,
bright
yes.
in the day."
Okay, I got it.
Underneath the tree. It's so good. Kelly Clarkson, it's America's treasure. Anyway, uh, dude, I don't like Queen. You know what? Sometimes we
Is
just
that gonna raise the ire of some people? Are
I
some
don't
people
care.
not?
I just I never thought about it, and then I was listening to Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast, and he started he was like Bohemian Rhapsody is the most annoying song ever made,
I agree.
and I was like, I was like, dude, I was like 10 when Wayne's World came out, right? That's like the prime age for that being the funniest thing I've ever seen, right? Like them headbanging.
Yeah.
It's just it's so funny. But I was 10. And then I thought about it and I was like, and like We Will Rock You, really great song if you're 10. Like 10 years old. But then as an adult, you're like, what if I what if it just came on Spotify? And it was just like it's like, put a gun to my head. Stop it.
Is there some sort of special choir singing that
I don't
song
know.
that way?
It's just an annoying song. Fat
Okay.
Bottom Girl, annoying song. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, I hate the vocals. So I thought about it and I was like, at no point in my life, in my adult life, in the last 20 years probably, has a Queen song ever come on like Spotify or Pandora or an AM/FM radio and me not change it immediately. I
Wow.
don't like Queen. But I never thought about that because it's just like everybody likes Queen. Queen's a good band. They're like a classic rock band. No, I don't like Queen. It's a weird thing to think about. So I challenge you, listener, think about a great rock band that you think that's like universally loved. What is it? Rolling Stones, AC/DC, whatever.
Van Halen, baby.
Van Halen, is that yours?
That's mine.
You're not a Van Halen guy.
Oh, I love Van Halen.
Oh, you
There
do?
was the
Okay.
ones, yeah.
But so there's probably
Yeah, there's
some
probably somebody, yeah.
like
Like
legendary group or singer out there that like when you really think about it, you're just like, actually, I don't like that band.
Bob Dylan, I don't care for.
Real? Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
There's yours.
yeah, don't
There's yours.
yeah.
And that's fine. And that's fine. I think that is fine. And
Yes, because we live in America. Live in America right now. We can like whatever we want. I like bands from America who sing about America to Americans. And Shakira, because she got ass that don't quit.
see, and outside of Guns N' Roses, my favorite bands are Porcupine Tree, British, and I liked Churches for a while. Scottish lead singer.
Wow, I don't know either one of those bands.
Right, they're more contemporary. Porcupine Tree, well, not that's not true. Porcupine Tree, not contemporary. Porcupine Tree been around for a while.
Wow, that was the most age dismissive answer I've ever heard.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yes, they're more contemporary. Huh?
Well, fewer people just by definition
I
know.
got it. That's fun.
Anyway, it's Marta in the chat. The only people I personally know who like Queen are my homophobic cousins. That's
It seems
hilarious.
odd, yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's irony. in its purest form.
But also thank you for the kind message about enjoying our show and recognizing that we do both risk our marriages by doing it
I don't know if
every day.
well, listen. This is the thing that risks my marriage the least. Waking up is top of the list, and then the hours I'm awake. This actually helps because I'm up here for 90 minutes.
Do you know the song Highway Star by Deep Purple?
I know Deep Purple. I don't know if I know that song.
It's like nobody's gonna take my car. I'm gonna ride it.
100. Yes,
Okay.
100%.
My son can sing both guitar solos.
Really?
He just stands around playing with his little cars and trucks, singing the guitar solos.
All right. I'm over the Christmas holiday. We need to spend some quality time. I need to see the baby. I haven't seen her in a little while. And I got to hear this.
Yeah,
And we
she's
got to
walking.
get her over here.
She's
Get
like
her over
full
by the
on walking. Like
trees.
last Monday, she took her first few steps, and since then she is old.
Now
Like
she's just going.
walk. Like she is. My son, I felt like it was more of a gradual transition. Like he'd take a few. It was a little back and forth. She is just a walking baby now.
Well, now she sees all three of you walking around. She's like, I got to get in on this walking stuff. This ambulatory life looks pretty cool. I've been sedentary for a year, laying around waiting for people to move me. I'm going to where I want to go.
Oh, she still likes to be held. We went to my cousin's party on Saturday, and one of my couple of my second cousins were there, or aunts, uncles, doesn't matter. They're older, but they held her the entire time for like 3
Really?
hours. And she was just, every time I looked over, she's just like hanging out, chewing on a bus or eating food.
She's in heaven getting attention.
That's great.
Very nice. Well, that's all. I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. If you're just wrapping up Hanukkah, I hope your Hanukkah was lovely. If you're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa, enjoy that as well. And then we'll be back after the first of the year to do this some more and find out what's happening and keep you apprised of the situation. While we are gone, if you have not, we would love to have you listen, like, and subscribe to our new project, which is not so new anymore. It's been out for a little while. Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer. You can go to craftybrewerspod.com. Follow us on Instagram at crafty_brewers_pod. And, I think no New Year's Eve celebration is complete without some sort of Crafty Brewers swag to wear. You'll be the hit of your New Year's Eve party in a Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer sweatshirt, hoodie, t-shirt, muscle shirt, trucker cap, anything you can imagine. It's all there at craftybrewerspod.com. But thank you for checking that out. Thank you for another year of hanging out with us. I know I appreciate it. And I'm not going to speak for Cody. He can speak for himself. So I'm going to let Cody speak for himself, but have a wonderful holiday. We will talk to you in 2024. Cody, any words?
Yeah, Merry Christmas specifically. And if you are missing Brian's and my I'm just kidding.
Wow. The other holidays, okay, sorry.
I don't know anything about them. They could be over for all I know.
Well, yeah, Hanukkah just ended the other night.
I don't know that. Happy New Year. Everyone knows that one.
I know.
You are a learned man. I just sit around in my house not being able to start my car. Look, if you are listening,
this turned into the most hostile holiday greeting I think I've ever endured. I have let loose with some holiday greetings. Go ahead.
Look, if you have missed us the last few weeks, because we have been posting less, the second entire half of our most recent episodes of Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, just look up Crafty Brewers on your favorite podcast app or YouTube. You can watch it there. I spent a lot of time video editing. The second half of the episode is just a funny story from Catherine, and then I get involved, and the three of us have a back and forth at the end, and I think the last 10 minutes is unbelievably funny. So, if you enjoyed this, and even if you don't care about beer, go check that out. And hopefully that can tide you over for the next couple of weeks, since we will be off because Christmas is on a Monday. New Year's Day is on a Monday. So we're not going to be here. So if you need a little extra content, like you're bored, you like Brian, you want to go check something out, go do it because it's really good. And I spend a lot of time editing it.
Cody works very hard
So,
on it, and he's featured much more in the later episodes. He has his own mic and his own camera because he has an unfillable hole that his ego needs to feed. But so there's a lot of this in that. We just add Catherine and some beer. But it's not like all of a sudden you're going to a TED Talk. If you watch us there, you're going to get the same kind of humor, and you're going to get us because we don't change no matter where we're at.
Yeah, and we've recorded some really big guests for 2024. But that's enough of me plugging. I did just want to kind of mention that while we're on the topic. But generally, I think that you should come back for this. We'll keep doing this as much as we can. But yeah, sometimes it's because like a lot of times brewers have to cancel last minute. Getting guests is hard, especially for a podcast like ours that's like 10 episodes old. It's new, the Crafty Brewers thing. So, a brewer cancels or somebody gets sick or whatever. Like we're trying to make sure that we stay on top of like recording and stuff. So occasionally a Monday gets sacrificed. So hopefully you understand that. But in either case, whether Brian and I are recording a different podcast or this one, we're trying to put out really quality, fun, entertaining stuff for you, and hopefully you appreciate that, and we'll buy our merchandise because we don't have a Patreon, and that's the only way you can give us money.
Because we're not asking you for cash.
Yeah, we're not asking for cash yet, but probably gonna happen.
Who knows?
Probably gonna happen in 2024. Let's face it. But yeah, that's all. Yeah, no, Merry Christmas and whatever else people do, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! Thanks for being with us for another year, and we will talk to you in January.
Yes. For realities may vary. Bye.